Hello everybody out there and welcome to another edition of a late night screen review. Today we're talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Yep.
I miss the desert. I miss the sea. And I miss waking up every morning, wondering what wonderful adventure the new day will bring to us.
Those days have come and gone.
Perhaps not.
Well, here we are folks, another late night screen review, and this time we're talking Indiana Jones. That's right, he's back, baby. And now he's really old. I mean, really old. Directed by James Mangold and released in all major theatres now. It's out there. What does Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny have in store for us? Well, guess what? It involves time travel. That's right. Indiana Jones is hopping through time, baby. Yeah. So, the story. We're in the 1960s. We're in the middle of the space race in America. Indiana Jones is old. He's about to retire. He lives in a really crummy flat, and he's not having the best time of it, because of course he isn't. But unbeknownst to him, an artifact he was looking for during the Second World War, the Dial of Destiny, is being tracked down by an old, how do we call these people? Wartime Germans? He's being tracked by an old-time wartime German. And it's all caught up with him in the 1960s. Also unbeknownst to Indiana Jones is that his old goddaughter is also on the trail of the Dial of Destiny, but her business is more to do with just money and making a buck. And she doesn't care about anybody as long as she gets the money. And so it becomes this kind of three-way thing where Indiana Jones, his goddaughter, and then the old school German, wartime German, are all on the hunt for the Dial of Destiny. It's in two parts because of course it is. The object has been split into two parts. It's all the way around the world. When they bring it together, guess what? Yeah. Spoilers, it's a time machine. In the Indiana Jones film. Who saw that coming? So, as always, I went to my all-time favourite theatre, the Savoy the Cinema in Nottingham. I went with my partner, and we went for a late-night show. It was about 8:30 when we went to see the movie. Kind of half the theatre was full. We had the really cool big seats. We had the nice kind of sofa seats there. So I had my bucket of popcorn, I had my drink, my coffee, and ready to watch this movie. Now, to be honest, I went into this film not expecting much. I wasn't a big fan of the fourth film, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't think a lot of people were. For me, that film just went too far. It was too silly, over the top, overindulgent, and then it had basically space aliens in it. I mean, come on, guys, they were space aliens. And to me, that just doesn't fit in the universe of Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, for me, has always been about history. There's been, like, religious elements. Yeah, a hinting of supernatural stuff there. But, again, just a hinting. And other than that, it's always set in a real-world environment. And that's what I loved about Indiana Jones. And that's what I still love about the first three Indiana Jones movies. And the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull just wasn't doing that at all. It was doing its own thing, and it was awful. And how does this one fare? It's not much better. So what I will say about this movie, though, obviously it's one of the first Indiana Jones films not directed by Steven Spielberg. I think the story was by George Lucas, or he was at least involved in the idea. But the thing with me is that the first half of this movie starts off really, really good. There's an old flashback. Harrison Ford's been de-aged, and we're flashing back to the Second World War, and he's fighting the historical Germans. And, there's some great action sequences. It kind of feels like Indiana Jones. There's this object that everybody's trying to get hold of. There's a cool action sequence on a train, and there's fighting and all kinds of cool stuff. And it feels like Indiana Jones. Then we shoot into the modern era, or the modern era of the movie, so the 1960s. Indiana Jones is really old. He is cranky. He's retiring. He doesn't care about anything anymore. And I don't know about you, but there's nothing I love than seeing one of my old-time heroes made to look like an old, given up, broken down kind of human being. So already the film was on the back foot. Other than that, though, I mean, I was kind of enjoying the movie to a certain extent. It felt very real in terms of its setting and some of the characters and the kind of world globe-trotting, and there wasn't anything too silly happening, and there wasn't any relation to the fact that it was going to turn into a time travel movie at that point. Because even throughout the first half of the film, the characters are saying, well, the Dial of Destiny, it's a device, it's not really magical or anything like that, it's just about mathematics. It was invented by Archimedes, apparently, so it was, you know, it's realistically thought out. It's not an object that actually does anything. It's more of a symbolic object. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can get behind this. And then as the film goes along, it just slowly starts to lose its mind and drifts farther and farther away from what we know as Indiana Jones, as far as I'm concerned. The male-female protagonist, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she plays a character called Helena, who's Indiana Jones' goddaughter. She shows up and she's kind of like spunky and she doesn't care about anything and she's just in for herself and, you know, in for the money, and hey, she can do it too, guys, and she can fight and punch and kick and do all this stuff, even though apparently she's just graduated college or something, or university. The trouble is with kind of like, I guess, Disney movies these days, is that they tend to write strong female protagonists as just being basically really annoying and cocky and just kind of arrogant and really unpleasant, as opposed to just writing somebody that's kind of strong and feisty, but also like an interesting character or a good person. Like, they can be both. And even Indiana Jones, I wouldn't describe him as like a cool character or a good person in this movie. He's, like I say, he's really just not bothered, doesn't want to get involved, and is just very negative. And again, like, Helena's character leaves Indiana Jones to die on at least 3 occasions during the movie. And again, we're supposed to be rooting for this woman. And Indiana Jones has done nothing to this girl, by the way. He's, from what we learn in the movie, he was actually a really good godfather to her on multiple occasions. So that's really confusing. And again, Indiana Jones doesn't seem to be that interested. He just seems to be more interested in, like, judging this woman. So they're kind of bickering back and forth throughout the whole movie, which is just kind of like, I'm not sure what we're watching right now, because this isn't fun. And as I say, the opening sequence started really well, and the first third of the movie was doing something, and it was like, oh, the Dial of Destiny, what could it be? What is it actually about? And you're like, oh, okay, I don't know, this is interesting. And then it all culminates with them actually putting the two pieces together. Everybody comes together, all the different characters all meet up, and then it's this time travel story, to the point where they literally travel back in time and are involved in some sort of battle involving Roman soldiers, and Indiana Jones is there, back in time. Now, that's something you can either get behind or you can't. And I couldn't. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing. I was literally watching the movie when that happened, and I went, like, is anybody else seeing what I'm seeing right now? This is an Indiana Jones movie, right? I just don't see why we couldn't have had a more grounded story with a hint of supernatural kind of flavouring. I don't know why we couldn't have a funny or an interesting or just like a nice female protagonist. I don't know why Indiana Jones has to be so giving up on life and just doesn't care about anything anymore just because he's gotten older. I mean, I'm not that old myself, but I assume that when I get to be a very old person, that I hope that I'm not going to be a miserable piece of crap. But apparently Indiana Jones is, so there we are. It just seems like such a shame to end the film on this way. There are some good elements, there's some good action sequences, it's well shot. There are some good pieces throughout the movie in terms of action and, you know, this kind of thing, and bit. You know, there are some nice little kind of hints at more emotional scenes between the characters where they actually do have pleasant moments with each other. It's not all bad, but there is a lot of what I feel just like kind of negativity running throughout this film. And to me, it just seems like such a shame to end a cool series like Indiana Jones on this kind of a note. it just seems really, it kind of leaves a bitter taste in the mouth to me. So anyway, that's my review of Indiana Jones. I'm not a fan. I don't recommend it. Please don't go see it if you haven't already. You're really not missing out on much. It's a bit more realistic and gritty than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that's about it. Other than that, it's basically just as bad. If you didn't enjoy the Crystal Skull and where it was going in terms of its like themes, you're not going to enjoy this movie at all. I didn't enjoy it, and I won't be going to the cinema to see another Indiana Jones movie. And I'm really sad to say that. We still have the originals. We still have the first 3 movies. Indiana Jones is still a really cool character and a movie that I'm going to, the first 3 films I'm going to rewatch probably for the rest of my life. So I'm always going to have those movies. So I'm not gutted. I'm not heartbroken. I'm not going to make out like I am, because I'm not. It's just a film. I just wouldn't go see it at the cinema. That's my review. So, I realised that this film isn't a horror movie, but I kind of thought it was important to do a review on that and just to give my thoughts for whatever it's worth. So, until next week, guys, or until next time, should I say, stay safe, stay scared, and we will see you soon. Bye.